Greetings. I'm delighted to be on day 3 of this 175th anniversary pilgrimage to the Ignatian sites in Spain, and to be here at Javier in Navarre, the birthplace of St. Francis Xavier. Behind me, you'll see the Basilica in honor of Francis Xavier. You'll also see the tower that is part of our own Xavier High School seal and symbol, right? It appears in so many places, both in and around the building and in our publications and in yearbooks through the years, and around the tower, the Xavier family castle. And in many ways, this is among my favorite places on this pilgrimage, because it's not in a city. This is it. And you have a Jesuit spiritual center, a Jesuit residence, but you have the birthplace, the home of Francis Xavier. You have the family chapel and baptistry to my right. And then you have mountains, fields, and skies. It's the place when I'm in Spain and visiting the sites important in the life of the society. Say, this is sort of Xavier came outside, and this is what he saw. Right? He saw these mountains, he saw these plains and these hills, and I can't imagine it was all that different, because it's sparse now, and it's simple and beautiful in its simplicity. So there's something about being here. Things I've picked up and learned. I had never realized that in that battle at Pamplona, the battle between regions, Navarre, where Francis Xavier is from, was aligned with the French, and Ignatius was fighting for the Spanish. Xavier's brothers were at that same battle at Pamplona, where Ignatius was injured. So in some ways, the friendship may be even more unlikely. It was at the University of Paris, where Xavier and Peter Faber were roommates. And a couple of years into their studies, they're awaiting the arrival of a new roommate, Ignatius of Loyola. And in some sense, his reputation had preceded him. And they wondered what they were getting. And truth be told, in the beginning, Xavier, although he was there in studies and in preparation for the priesthood, was interested in the priesthood for a whole different set of reasons than one might think. And yet this powerful friendship between Ignatius and Xavier forms. And Xavier had rough spots. Right? He had a friend who killed someone and who was hanged, right, as punishment. It was the guy's third strike. He had a professor who he was close to, and who was not the most responsible person in the world, come down with syphilis and die. Right, so he was a bit of a ruffian himself. Much more interested in the social aspects, if you will, of college life, and yet the friendship with Ignatius, right, made real the love of God for him. Father Matt Malone preached our liturgy in the Basilica a little while ago. And at that liturgy, I remembered, and Matt remembered, all of Xavier's sons and our families and current students, alums, in our prayer at the liturgy. And I was praying for you as well in a particular way today. And Matt, drawing on Pope Francis, reminded us that Francis is constantly saying, God is not an idea, right? Our God was made real in the person of Jesus Christ, who loved us. And that love of God made real in Jesus Christ is what opens the door to the possibilities of God in our life, right? That's what Xavier experienced in his relationship with Ignatius. It changed his life, and he could leave this small town where he was minor nobility, where his dad died young, where the priesthood, when he went off to the University of Paris, was a means of advancement. And he could cast that all aside, because the love of God made real in the friendship and love of Ignatius and opened up a whole new possibility, right? A whole new world where he can leave and go to the Far East and evangelize the people of India and be one with them, right? Loved them as God loved him, loved them as he and Ignatius and Faber and the early companions loved one another, right? That constant theme here of God's love made real in relationships, that was true in the early society. It's true in our lives these days, right? And the gift of Ignatius is inviting us to take the time and reflect on that and see God's work and see how that frees us, like it freed Francis Xavier to go off in service of the church, in service of our God, to be in relationship with people in Japan, in India, and elsewhere, and make that love real and invite them to do the same. Thanks again for joining me. My time here in Javier will be all too brief as we head to Montserrat tomorrow. I'm going to ask Father Pat Nolan and Father Matt Malone to join us the next couple of days to offer some reflections from Montserrat and Manresa. I look forward to being with you through the distance once again. Xavier knew what it was like to be in relationship through the distance, and yet was always comforted and reassured in his friendship with Ignatius, who he would never see again, right, before his death, but reassured that that relationship remained in their love and care for one another and in the love and care of God for them. Thank you. Have a great day.